Welcome to NAIOP Solutions Series program titled The Complexity of Urban Waterfront Redevelopment. My name is Elizabeth Sherrod, and I'll be your host. The Solutions Series programs are available at no cost. These mini webinars run less than 30 minutes, and our goal is to provide you with some quick tips and insights, all types of strategies to help you succeed in today's business environment. Do you have a topic suggestion? Please email us at solutions@naiop.org to let us know what topics you would like to hear about in future programs. Next slide, please. Today's presentation is based on a research project funded by the NAIOP Research Foundation. The NAIOP Research Foundation fosters building better communities through practical research and education that advances the quality and makes evident the benefits of commercial real estate ownership and development. These research projects support developers, owners, and others involved in commercial real estate to meet and exceed the needs and expectations of our communities, now and in the future. Examples of completed research projects are listed on the current slide. For more information on the NAIOP Research Foundation or to view our completed research, please visit www.naioprf.org. Next slide, please. And now, let's get on with our program. With us today is Barry Hersh, a clinical associate professor at the New York University Schack Institute of Real Estate, where he teaches several real estate development courses. Barry conducts research on environmentally responsible real estate development and is a core faculty member of the NYU Center for the Sustainable Built Environment. He also participates in international programs, most recently in China and Poland. Barry has a special interest in waterfront redevelopment, including work with the Waterfront Center and an academic paper presented to the American Real Estate Society in 2010. Barry is also a developer of urban sites. Welcome, Barry. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. It's my pleasure to be here with you and to talk about waterfront brownfields, which I think represents a great opportunity for the real estate development industry, though it has quite a few challenges, both of which we're going to talk about. We're going to start with analyses and strategies that work for developers to help make projects happen, talk about the regulatory matrix at multiple levels and multiple kind of reviews. We're going to describe briefly a couple of case studies and then conclude with some key points. The greatest opportunity is many of these waterfront brownfield sites are well located in their marketplace. As the market has turned away from outlying sites at the edge of cities, there's been more focus on well-located sites in cities, especially those that have waterfront visibility or access. Sometimes they are available at a discounted price because of real or perceived contamination and the complexity of dealing with them. Though waterfront, as the real estate expression goes, always sells. Many of these projects are in-city or older suburbs. They qualify as transit-oriented development, meaning that they have access to buses, subways in some cases, and ferries in others. There are often a great many sustainability features. They are eligible for different kinds of government support, and they have been great projects. The challenges can be daunting. There is a multiple level of reviews, not only from different governments and different agencies, but also from the stakeholders involved, whether they be community or environmental groups. Timing is tricky. These projects generally take a little bit longer, so it requires changes in strategy. Developers are rightfully concerned about environmental liability, and there are specific strategies to protect the developer dealing with a site that has some environmental history. Many of these projects involve different forms of financing. whether it be private or public. Sometimes it's very difficult to find market comparables. They are complex projects, and there certainly have been some failures also, which I discuss in my full report. The first topic that I want to talk about is leadership, preparation, and building the team. These projects take a somewhat larger team, and I realize the developer has to pay all of them. It involves environmental specialists, different insurance brokers, specialized attorneys, all of which are necessary to deal with the specifics of a waterfront site, particularly one that has environmental concerns. There are more stakeholders, more people interested in your project, starting with the usual community groups, but there will also be others who have a special interest in the waterfront, whether they be boat owners or environmental organizations that focus on water quality. There has been a history of very large, complex projects done in a number of locations. Many of those stalled during the recession. Some of them are coming back to life. Hudson Yards in New York City is an example. But they respond to market demand. Many of the projects that are proceeding today are not aircraft carrier size. They are somewhat smaller, more manageable, have less risk, and a shorter time horizon. There are different ways of accelerating the multiple level of approval. One is to have a design charrette, bring everyone into the room, including the community, review boards, advocates. This is somewhat risky for a developer, but I have seen it work quite effectively in a number of projects. The other thing is the multiple level and multiple track that you have to follow. So you may have half a dozen review processes proceeding at the same time. There's always a government role in this project, certainly as a regulator, but also often in public-private partnership, perhaps as a financing source. So there is an opportunity there to work with the government. A note about acquisition strategy, which is discussed in some detail in the report, certainly requires due diligence. Sometimes purchase options can be effective, but often there is an opportunity to acquire a site at a reduced price and be able to have control and be less vulnerable to attacks or delays. There are some very interesting financing streams. Some developers in other circumstances have used tax increment financing, or TIFs, whereby you float a bond that is considered a municipal bond, though it is the responsibility of the development and the project. And that we'll talk about one project that did a very large TIF. EB5, which is visa financing, some green funds, and a few techniques for dealing with environmental liability. One is to use new remediation technology. I get new technologies all the time. Generally, they work in the specific circumstances, so you need the expertise to select the best approach. Triad is an approach that allows you to test as you go along and to make your remediation process go quicker. There can be synergy with remediation and redevelopment. The intuition of first you clean it up and then you build it is sometimes not the quickest way to proceed. You want to be able to do two things when the big yellow machines are out there. And there is environmental insurance that is available at different phases of the development process. Not always easy, it's not always inexpensive, but sometimes very useful, particularly in dealing with lenders. I want to emphasize design quality and maximizing benefits. This is not a typical project. It may have big boxes, but it's still not a typical big box design. Often they have residential components, but it's not typical. One is that almost every locality will require public access to the waterfront. So you have to design with that in mind and actually make it a benefit, help bring more people to your project. Often there are requirements for water-dependent uses, such as marinas and boatyards. And also, these projects are an opportunity for true mixed use, meaning 3 or more uses that actually benefit from being next to one another. These projects have inherent sustainability features. They are an alternative to sprawl. They involve many facets of green, from water quality to sustainable buildings, all of which can help make the project work better in terms of approvals and marketing. There can be shoreline improvements, which is a specialty unto itself, as well as infrastructure. And often these projects require specialized public relations, an opportunity to celebrate waterfront success. Just briefly, this matrix shows the various levels of approvals that you will need to proceed with during a development project. Talks about the conventional ones that most developers are dealing with, the ones focused on removal of contamination, the one that are waterfront related, including notably floodplain, and then the green features that can include green infrastructure as well as green buildings. There's also an opportunity. It talks about the regulators, talks about the roles of private not-for-profit organizations, and also the financial opportunities that are available in these categories. I want to talk briefly about Stanford, Connecticut, which is quite a large project, over $3 billion in total value. It was a former set of industrial sites. To date, they've built over 1,200 units and over 200,000 square feet, and have quite a bit of retail activity, notably a Fairway supermarket and some others. This project did $145 million tax increment financing that was used to pay for a lot of the infrastructure in what was historically the oldest part of the city. And that was floated actually at the beginning of 2010, so after the recession. There is an extensive review process. There's discussion about a marina, and there is a brand new potential for this project, is that they have attracted a $750 million hedge fund that wants to build on the site of a former boatyard, that it has to go through the approval process. The east side of Toledo was industrial, classic Midwestern brownfield, former power plant and other things. The mayor visited China twice, brought in investors, and because it's in a low-income area, those investors, if they put in $500,000 apiece, are eligible for a green card under the federal EB-5 financing program. A set of new land uses, including a marina that allows public access. This brownfield chart shows in generalized way how the process flows as it goes through the initial stages of due diligence, through planning, approvals, construction, and management, and then into a real estate portfolio. It talks about it in the environmental track, the land use track, the basic core real estate track that includes acquisition, permits, occupancy, marketing side, and the financing side. So just to give an illustration of how the project works. So a few concluding comments. Number one, you need to plan for success. You need to have the team in place. You need to have the expertise. You need to deal with the multi-track approvals. You really want to emphasize quality. These are unique sites. There's an opportunity to do something that really creates a special place that invites the public and can lead to a highly successful project. There are innovative financing approaches, and developers keep coming up with new ones. And you need to address public access to the stakeholders right from the get-go. And finally, when you succeed, don't forget to have a big party. This is fireworks over East Toledo. So with that, thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me at the email below. The report is available at the NAIOP Research Foundation website. And again, I appreciate your attention. Thank you. With that, I'll turn it back to Elizabeth.
Barry, thanks for a great overview of your research report and highlighting a few case studies on urban waterfront redevelopment. For more information on the NAIOP Research Foundation, or to view other completed research, please visit www.naiop.rf.org. Our next Solution Series program, highlighting the trends and results of NAIOP's latest compensation survey, conducted by CEL and Associates, will be available on September 25th. Watch your email for NAIOP Source, our corporate e-newsletter, for the program link. Thank you for listening to our session, and have a good day.